What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. Now you join me today at Laguna Seca. We are doing the Mazda Spec series in the weekly rotation lobbies here in the featured multiplayer, and we're just doing the first of our qualifying laps. We're a bit short on time, so we're only really going to get two done. Make that one actually, because we're going to carry a bit too much speed through the left-hand kink coming up the hill, and that's going to run us wide. So we're going to skip lap, and then as we go to start our second qualifying lap, we're going to go very deep there, get a little bit out of shape on exit, and then as we're driving down the straight, my wheel decides that I'm not allowed third gear when I want it, so we're just going to quit out of qualifying so we don't lose any lap and go again. Now it leaves us about time just to get one lap done here, so we're going to go a little bit on the conservative side to make sure it stays clean to give us the best starting position. We make sure that we keep the wheels to the left hand side of the rumble strip there to make sure that it stays valid, and not the best run through corkscrew. We go a little bit too deep through the first part, compromises the exit. Lock up a little bit into the final corner, and we have to take a couple of stabs at the corner entry as we turned a bit too early first of all, but we still managed to put in a low 117. We were third when it comes to the end of the qualifying session when I crossed the line. However, in the last few seconds, the last people behind us managed to pip us a little bit, and we dropped down to fifth. Now we are safety rated S, and we've got a skill rating of 4769, so we are, after the touring car ones, trying to get a little bit more progression towards the 5k rating so we can get that series finally finished, because it's taken me far too long to get from 4.3k to 5k. But setting off here, we have a good run. We have a much better start than everyone around us here. We are the quickest off the line by far. We've already made up one position. We're side by side with the car to the right hand side of us here. We have the inside for turn one, but what I don't want to do is drift out wide and send him off into the wall, so we let off a little bit to make sure we all get through nice and cleanly. We are side by side once again coming into this left-hander. We have the inside line here. We managed to keep much better speed using more of the banking. We get in just enough in front of him that we can pull over. Brake coming through the left-hand kink. We miss the apex a little bit, and that just sends me a little bit wide by a couple of inches. The wheel drops off the back of the curbing, and that gives me a 1.10 second penalty. So yeah, force penalties going to be a thing in this one once again. So get through corkscrew. The guy in front gets all kinds of out of shape. We'll look to see if we can benefit from this by going around the outside, but we're not quite able to hold as much momentum as I would have liked, so we're just going to slot in behind him. We're going to look to see if we maybe have a run into the next corner. Not really anything going there, so we're going to back out, get a little bit out of shape through the corner, a little bit of back end sliding out, but we managed to hold on to it and keep relatively close. A good run through the final corner here is not what we get, because we managed to miss the apex a little bit. That we're too early turning in, too much speed, and we drift a little bit wide, but thankfully the cars ahead of us don't have the greatest run through turn one, so we don't drop too far back. We actually start gaining up the hill towards the left-hander once again. This time we go a little bit more gingerly. We keep all four wheels on the track rather than using any of the rumble strip, and we managed to lock up a little bit coming through corkscrew, but no additional penalties up until this point where we go over the yellow curbing, unsettles the car, we have to straighten up, and we get another 0.9 of a second penalty. So yeah, really good start here. 2 laps and 2 seconds worth of penalty. Even though coming out of the corkscrew I did lift just to try and avoid getting that penalty, and we did concede a position. Yeah, probably should have done that. Should have just kept my foot in it after getting that penalty. Anyway, so we come up through the left-hander up the hill. The multicoloured Mazda in front of us gets kind of out of shape on the dirt. We have a look to see if we've got enough speed to run around the outside, but not really. With 2 second penalty already at this point, I'm being a bit more cautious to see if we can maybe minimise our losses. Coming out sweeping left after corkscrew, we go a little bit out of shape over the curbing, drop our wheels off the track there, not by much, taking out the brake marker, but apparently I gained such an egregious benefit by doing that it's going to reward me with a 1.6 second penalty. So we are 3.5 seconds down in terms of penalties, and we're on lap 4 at this point, so really looking to rein it back in. We're going to be driving at about 85% to make sure we don't lose any more. That means the guy behind me is catching pretty quick, but as you can see, he is pushing a lot because he has 5.5 seconds penalty, so that goes up to 7.7 seconds coming through the kink in the 5th lap here. So we're not really going to worry too much about this guy's position by us, because we should be, as long as we're within 4 seconds of him, we are going to be getting that position back anyway. We lock up a little bit once again going into the corkscrew. It's very difficult to not do that with these cars. They're very light as you go over the crest. It's very easy to lock up. As we come out of corkscrew, there's been all sorts of shenanigans going on here, so we pick up a position up to P4 through that. We've now got 2 cars squabbling in front of us. We have a look to see if we can maybe think about sneaking and move up the inside, but it's not really anything Piston on there wasn't quite close enough alongside. The car on the left goes off into the dust. Again, not quite got the overspeed to make anything from that. He slides in front and the car behind is very opportunistic and takes the position. But again, he's got 7.7 second penalty, so we're not too worried. Just going to pick up a tow coming up the hill towards the corkscrew on the final lap here. Once again, we go a little bit deep through the corner, but again, making sure we don't get any form of penalties for shortcutting anything. And we're just going to look to see if we can make as many positions back as we can. We don't know what penalties the guys in front of us have got. I know there were a lot of them. As you can see, the guy in P1 has got a 2.6 second penalty as well. So as we come out the final corner here, there's a lot of dust kicked up. The white MX5 gets all kinds of out of shape. We managed to get a much better run, looking to see if we can get around the outside. Quick spot of the penalty before the line shows we're not going to make any positions up other than the one we already knew about. So that is going to be good enough for P4. So not a bad showing here. We managed to gain the position even with getting a fistful of penalties in this one. And our lap time wise shows that we were pretty on pace here. We were 0.3 per second, well, 0.5 per second off of fastest lap. So we were there or thereabouts with all of the leading cars there. You see the gap behind that was to like a 1:18.5. So there was a big gap between the leading cars and the next pack. So we move on to Kyalami, obviously one of my favourite tracks here, and we're going to be getting to see if we can get some good laps in here. We're not going to have enough time to do more than 2 laps. The first one's not going off to a great start here as we go very deep through turn 1, trying to spot the braking point and figuring out how much speed I can carry through that. We do the same thing coming at the bottom of the hill after Mineshaft up towards Cheetah. So the first lap is a relatively pedestrian 2:14.6. You see the guy currently on pole is 2:12.8. He will end up disconnecting, so we're going to see if we can still improve on us. We are going to inherit pole as it sits right now anyway, but we managed to find a fair bit of time coming through the first couple of corners here. As we come out of Barbecue on the run down Sunset, we're already 1.2 seconds up. Currently sitting, as you see, P2 because the guy with the 2:12 has left. Coming out through the hairpin at the top of the hill, like in the run down to Mineshaft, we are going to be a massive 1.9 seconds ahead of target. Coming into the right-hander at the bottom of the hill, making sure we get a much better run through this time. A little bit of curve to help rotation on the power nice and smoothly. Through Cheetah into the final corner. Good run through using a lot of curve, opening it up on the exit to maximise track width. We're going to be 2.5 seconds up. Crossing the start-finish line with a 2:12.1. So even if the guy had stayed, we would have beaten him by 0.7 of a second. So we will be starting this one from pole position. A relatively rare starting position for me, although not in the Spec series. I seem to do these better than I do things like touring cars and the GT lobbies. But yeah, we're going to have a clear track in front of us. We're going to see if we can get the best start possible like we had last race, but it's going to be a bit difficult. And yeah, the main thing is going to be doing is trying to survive turn 1, because no doubt some people will miss their braking points. Possibly me, but we get off the line here, and as you see, we do bog down, unfortunately. We get about as good a position than most of us around. The pink car immediately behind me doesn't have a much better start than we do, but as you can see, the red car in the mirrors is flying up the left-hand side here. He must have got a very quick launch off of the grid, as you can't adjust the gearing in these cars. I don't think you can anyway. I may be wrong with that. I don't think you can. We don't have a great turn 1. We go very deep, leaving a lot of position close to the apex. Dropping a couple of wheels over the curb, but managed to keep control of the car. We don't drift too wide on that, and we look to see if we can get anything round to the outside of the guy in front. Don't really have the overspeed for that. We get a much better run through Sunset though. He gets a little bit out of shape. We look to see if we can maybe keep up the inside towards the left-hander. He closes the door even though I'm already halfway through it, so we have to back out. We get a little bit of collision, bit of Forza glue, and we're off into the gravel. So it is halfway through lap 1. We've gone from P1 to P8, so we are now basically doing our own last to first challenge. Well, first to last to first. And as we come through the S's here, coming up towards the hairpin at the top of the hill, we're going to make 1 position back there already, so we're up to P7. As we come down the hill towards the right-hander at the bottom, we're going to look to see if we can maybe get the switch back on a couple of these. The car, the yellow and blue, orange and blue one goes very deep. We cut back onto the apex, almost get collected by the other car coming down the hill. He was very gung-ho into that corner, but we make that position stick. We get overspeed coming out of Barbecue and the run down to Sunset, and we make up 2 more positions here, so we are now back up to P4 as we go through the run through Sunset. Lifting off, little dab of brakes just to get the nose in. The guy behind falls in line, so we managed to get through this one nice and easily. So we are on lap 3. We have about 4 seconds to close down here, so we're going to put our head down and make sure we can get as much as we can. Cloud of smoke shows us the pink car off into the barrier there, so this is a sign that these guys are getting their elbows out, I think. So we already know one guy is very feisty at the front, and by the S's on the end of lap 3, we have managed to close the gap down to within a second for third and just below a second second now, coming out of the hairpin at the top of the hill to the lead. We get up the inside of the white MX5 on the run down through mineshaft into the final lap, turn 1. We miss our braking point again. For some reason, I think I get a bit of target fixation on the guy in front. Carry a bit too much speed, a little bit out of shape, and I thought I had missed my chance on that, but we were managed to carry a lot more speed out of barbecue once again. He tries to box me out this time. I get my elbows out though, just to say no, I am here and you're not going to move me. So we put ourselves on the inside up of Sunset. We lift to get into the corner. He somehow thinks that I'm just going to disappear. Somehow manages to pit maneuver himself in me by trying to change his line to mine. Now keep an eye into the rearview mirror, because here he comes. There we go. Mr. White doing the I am the one who knocks, because he is knocking me straight off the track into the barrier. So we are down to P3. The pink car managed to get round in front of us, so we're just looking to see if we can get back in front of this guy here, just really to annoy him. We get a much better run through the apex at the top of the hill. We're going to start to the left hand side here, because I do not want to be directly behind this guy. He moves, so I move to counter move it. He tries to brake check me, but manages to pit maneuver himself. For some reason I tried to let off the throttle, but what would you know, the throttle stuck. That's a shame. I need to really have a look at that. Oh dear. But anyway, yeah, it's just going to be finishing out this one here. So unfortunately not the win we could have got if we were not brutally murdered coming into the left-hander after Sunset, but it is still a qualifying, it's still a podium finish here at P2, and we managed to break the spirit of the guy who ramps off, because he didn't even make it after he pit maneuvered himself out of the race. So we're in second here on the podium. Apparently no one else wanted to hang around, so it's just me left as Billy No Mates here on the second step. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed those races, guys. Two very different races there. One very fun with good racing, the other one very funny because of one racer. We do still manage to increase our skill rating, 4824. Safety rating dropped to A, unfortunately, because of all the penalties we picked up at Laguna Seca. But I very much hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did, especially the second race. If you did, drop me a like, leave me a comment, let me know, and do please subscribe for plenty more videos in the future, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.